It's the Party Scientist, your connection coach. I want to give you the right tools and paradigms for building a virtual community. And I'm not just talking about a Discord community or a forum. I'm talking about a community where people feel connected to each other and they feel psychological safety. So whether you're leading a remote team or building a virtual community, these paradigm shifts and tools are relevant to you. Let's start with how most people approach online community building. Well, a lot of the connection happens through text, right? Like a lot of the interactions are done asynchronously and they're done shallowly and they're done through text, right? And you know, who here is overwhelmed by the amount of text messages they have, right? We're going to get into that in a second, but the other way that a lot of remote leaders build communities is they use fun, right? Like they'll have little icebreakers or games, and ultimately fun is something central to my philosophy, but it's really the first step. Like fun and positive emotions open up the body to connection, right? And so when we are using fun as a way to build community, we can't forget that we also need something after the fun to really reinforce bonding and belonging and understanding, right? Like understanding each other's experiences and really hearing each other. So let's jump into these paradigm shifts. There's 3 of them that need to happen for us to build really strong, authentic online communities. The first one is we need to move away from text communication. We need to move toward high fidelity, empathetic communication, right? So a lot of community builders, a lot of team leaders, they'll emphasize Slack and they'll emphasize forums and like asynchronous text communication, but really like there's no empathy in that. There's a very few there's no nonverbals, and we tend to get inundated with text communication such that we're not even present when we're connecting face to face with people. So text communication, not only does it have very low emotionality, right? There's not a lot of emotional expression possible in a text interaction, but it also prevents us from connecting face to face with people because we're so overwhelmed with the amount of text of unread messages we have, right? And like who is just completely overwhelmed by the amount of text communication that they have to deal with, right? Like email, social media messages, text messages, WhatsApp. Like it's just, we got all these apps and it's just driving everyone crazy. So this first paradigm shift comes from an article I wrote. It's called Why Texting is Ruining Your Health. And the central argument of that article is keeping in touch with people constantly is taking you out of the moment and taking you out of the present moment with people you love and care about. I'm at a dinner table right now doing this, and guess what? Most dinner tables, you go into a restaurant, you look around, look how many people have their phones on the table. Look how many people are not even with the people that they've decided to inconveniently meet in a restaurant for dinner, right? Like, here's the thing. I hope I have your permission to rant, right? Here's the thing. Like, we can spend time together with people physically, and guess what? It can still be super shallow and not nourishing at all. It doesn't matter whether we're there physically. What matters is the quality of presence we bring to the people right in front of us. So this whole idea of like remote connection versus, physical offices, like that's totally bullshit. What really matters is the quality of presence that we bring to the interactions we have with people, whether they're video calls, phone calls, whether it's physical or not. So back to the first paradigm shift. We need to emphasize text communication less, and we need to really tell our community that no, it's at events, it's at live events where we connect emotionally and we open up and we build relationships. We don't have to be constantly in touch with each other through text communication. So, paradigm shift number 2. We got to stop using fun, shallow fun and entertainment, and we got to start using vulnerability and authentic expression, okay? So go online, you look at all these remote community building activities, and it's all just fun and games. There's no vulnerability, there's no real expression. It's a lot of people just playing trivia and doing escape games. And there's very few connections happening, actually. It's like indirect connection, like, oh, we're trying to sort out this game together, but it's like, that's different than what I'm trying to create. Like when I lead a virtual experience, I'm trying to give people an interaction they've never had with each other. I'm trying to open up this whole spectrum of possibility when it comes to human connection that can deeply nourish us. And it goes way beyond fun. And so games are great to open people up, to activate positive emotions, to make people more pro-social. But what's necessary after the games is like authentic conversation exercises, playfulness, something involving vulnerability, something involving emotional expression. When emotions are being expressed, that's when bonds form. Now, in a lot of entertainment and fun, I mean, emotions are expressed. And so I'm not saying they're total crap, but use them with an understanding that they're just step one. They're just step one in creating very authentic relationships. So, the paradigm shift number 3. Boop. We got to move from fragmented, irregular community building to relationship building, community building as a habit, as a weekly practice, as something we do in small bites. Right now, a lot of people, they'll host these giant retreats, giant events. You know, a lot of people in their personal life, they look forward to a giant event. We're going on holidays, woo! And they socialize so much and they connect with so many people. And guess what? Then they go back to their regular lives and they don't connect with anyone, because connection isn't a habit in their lives. And so as community builders, as remote leaders, we need to create a habit of relationship building, a habit of creating intentional spaces where people practice vulnerable, authentic, playful connection with one another. So we got to move away from, oh, let's just host like an annual event and it'll be 5 days of fun. We got to move away from that, and we got to move toward ongoing reinforcement. Ongoing reinforcement. This is how we change behaviors. This is also how we maintain really meaningful relationships. Of course, you have an old friend who you can call at any point in time, and I do too, and that's powerful. But you know how that relationship formed? That relationship formed over ongoing contact. Not, oh, we met at a big event, we met, during this one-off thing, and then suddenly we were best friends for life. Like, sure, that happens. But when we're talking about human psychology, we need ongoing reinforcement of those relationships. What that enables too is that enables us to build on the relationship so people can try newer and newer things. We can ask more and more personal questions. We can be more and more openly expressive with one another because the psychological safety continues to build week after week after week. So if you are a remote community builder leader, you got to make connection a habit. Maybe even shorten the duration of your events, of your community building efforts, and do that, the snack bites, instead of the large, dramatic events. So everyone, that was a rant, and that was totally unrehearsed, and it's only 20% of what I talk about. 80% is in my laboratory. You are missing the 80% unless you join my laboratory below. It's my free newsletter. I'll even comp you for my podcast. Let's set out into the world and build authentic remote community bonds.